Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. My name is Sara Rodriguez. I'm the coordinator for the West Texas Fellowship Program of the NSF Alliance at the University of Texas at El Paso. And I would like to welcome you to our first meet and greet for the Spring 2021 cohort. So first of all, congratulations, everybody, for receiving this opportunity for our students who were selected to participate this semester. And also a big thank you to our mentors. Some of our mentors are present as well. We had 2 meetings for you today just to accommodate better our schedules, because we know that some of you are taking classes or teaching classes or working. So we tried to give you guys an opportunity to better accommodate that. So we have another session at 5, and some of our mentors and other students will be attending. So I would like to make a quick introduction to 2 members of our team, and that is Dr. Benjamin Flores, who is our principal investigator and program director, and also Agniprabha Banerjee, who is our research assistant, our graduate research assistant, and the right hand, so everything flows and works in the program. So you will be hearing from both of them today, and also receiving constantly, which you already have, emails about the program, about deliverables, forms, things, and etc. So we will go over a few points, and then we're gonna have also time for questions and answers, and that way you can clarify any information. We will talk about upcoming meetings, some deliverables as well, and other general things that you need to know as Aspire Fellow. So Dr. Flores.
Thank you, Sara. Thank you so much. Sara Rodriguez is our program coordinator, and she has done an outstanding job in preparing for this event. And I also want to thank Agniprabha Banerjee for making sure that we cross our T's and dot our I's, and making sure that we have the program that you all deserve. Let me just say that we have a vision in our program, and that vision is to prepare future generations of inclusive STEM faculty who mirror and also inspire future generations of community college students in the region that they serve. We are part of a larger national effort that is known as the Aspire Alliance. It's funded by the National Science Foundation, and our goal is to make sure that we have plenty of opportunities for graduate students in various disciplines, primarily in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We're also inclusive of other areas as long as there's an interest, and ensure that the students, the graduate students, get a better sense of the challenges and rewards of working or pursuing academic careers at community colleges. We found out over the years that trajectories toward professorships at community colleges are not linear, in the sense that you have graduate students like you who are thinking about research, but they're also very interested in the teaching aspects of academia. So you go through a number of steps to define your careers, and what we hope we can achieve is essentially make sure that you have the information necessary to reach your goals, whatever your goals may be, whether they're associated with academia in a community college or a university. We are here essentially to help out. So as I stated before, funding is from the National Science Foundation, and we are seeking to develop an inclusive and diverse STEM faculty across the nation. Ours is a regional effort. We have formed a regional collaborative of institutions. We can go ahead and change it to the next slide, if it's okay. So we have several regional collaboratives. Ours is known as the West Texas Regional Collaborative. We have 2 universities and 3 community colleges in West Texas that are part of this collaborative. But we also have other collaboratives across the nation, namely in California, in Iowa, in North Carolina, as well as Florida. We have a sister regional collaborative in Texas, and they serve essentially the north and the east part of Texas. We are focused on West Texas, which is rather large. So not only are we talking about El Paso, the El Paso region, we also include Odessa and Midland, Texas. Next slide. So the universities that are involved in our collaborative are the University of Texas at El Paso and the University of Texas Permian Basin, which is in Odessa. If you have ever gotten on I-20, if you start traveling east from here, you get on I-10 and then you take a fork on the road, start driving on I-20, and about 4.5 hours later, you get to the Odessa Midland area. So it's an extensive area. That's why we figured that this would work better as a regional collaborative. So we have a number of universities, the 2 universities that you have here listed, as well as the 3 community colleges that serve the region. So that includes El Paso Community College, Midland College, and Odessa College. Okay. In this particular cohort of fellows that you're participating, the large majority of you are from UTEP, but we do have some students from the Midland, Odessa area, and they're graduate students from the University of Texas Permian Basin. So we welcome you as well. Next slide, please. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands that community colleges have a principal role in developing the next generation of students who are pursuing careers in STEM. We need to be competitive, and in order to be competitive in the global workforce, we need to think about higher education as a whole, and not just as universities that are participating in the education of our students. Community colleges actually have the most diverse student population in the nation, much more than universities can achieve. So it's important to recognize community colleges, and this is why we want to make sure that you have a very good idea of what a career at a community college would entail. Sarah?
Yes, so now, now I would like to take it to Agni so he can talk a little bit about the objectives and the deliverables, what to expect, and then we will go back to Dr. Flores so he can talk to us about the mentoring model that we are going to follow this semester. So Agni, can you give us a general overview?
Hi, still on the same. Did I go ahead? Can everyone hear me? Yes. I think the basic idea, the stipends and like having seminars and workshops, we already discussed during our primary like seminar like last semester. What I wanted to add is that I'm sure that every one of you have a better idea now since we've already sent you the deliverables and outcomes. So my basic idea would be for now in this for you guys would be, like I mentioned, that if you could just ask questions based on that, so that I'm sure like there might be questions on different points in it. So, so that we can answer all your questions based on that. And also later on, I will also be talking about the Blackboard shell, which we will be using in for, for submitting the different deliverables, for resources and etc., so that we have everything in one. So that is mostly what I wanted to mention. And once again, I'd like to request that for every one of the fellows, like, please make sure that you answer, put out all your questions regarding the deliverables or anything about the workshops or anything which you might feel. And then later on, we're always there to answer it. So if you can't come up with a question now, it's good later. But I think that's it. And then we'll talk about the Blackboard shell after Dr. Flores has mentioned about the model.
Very good. Thank you, Agni. So we have one overarching goal as part of this program, and that is to prepare you for a potential career at a community college as an academic. The idea is to have a series of conversations and do some work in a friendly environment so that you can start thinking about what it might look for you if you were to decide to have a career at a community college. What we're going to do is not necessarily exclusive for community colleges, but the mentors that we will pair you with are professors from community colleges. Okay, so these individuals have agreed to assist you in the process. They want you to understand their institutions. They want you to know what it takes to be successful in these institutions. And in the process, they will be critiquing certain documents that you will generate. They're not extremely difficult assignments, but they do require some thought. One of the assignments is actually working on a teaching philosophy statement. If you are serious about pursuing a career in academia, you need to have a document that you can present on a short notice to whomever is interested in hiring you, whether that's a community college or a university. So you need to think about how you would approach the practice of teaching in a scholarly fashion so that you can then make it better as time progresses. And in order to do that, you need to have a foundation, and that foundation is what we call the teaching philosophy. And your teaching philosophy is more likely than not influenced by your own personal experiences. But what we want you to think is, but those professors that really impacted you in the past, and how they approach, how they thought about the process of education, what were their principles, and so that you can also develop your own principles, put them down on paper, and use that to guide you, so that if for whatever reason in the middle of a semester you're so busy and you're thinking, what am I supposed to be doing here? I feel that I've been pulled in many directions. You can always go back to that document and to focus you again on what you're trying to accomplish, okay? And over time, you can improve upon that document, okay? So that's what we call the teaching philosophy statement. You will also prepare a plan for a lesson. if you were given the opportunity to practice your teaching in a community college as a guest speaker, for instance, what would your lesson look like? What would you like your students to learn? How would you implement that? What would be the exercises? What would be the assignments? And at the end of the session, what would you expect your students to have learned? This is what we call a lesson plan. And it starts with objectives for the lesson and a series of activities that are consistent with those objectives, okay? And at the end, you would like to emphasize again what you want your students to have learned and probe the students so that you can get some feedback about how well they have learned the material and give you an opportunity to perhaps go over some of the concepts that you feel that perhaps they get through and help the students in the learning process, right? So it's like working in a family, in a learning community. You want to make sure that nobody's left behind. And in addition, we would like for you to reflect on what you may see if you're observing a classroom, whether it's face-to-face or if you are invited to participate or to just observe a lesson, then you can take notes and see how the professor, who's also your mentor, conducts class. And then you can think about what that person was trying to accomplish. And then perhaps you can even talk about what might be improved upon if it were up to you, or what were the main points that you learned from that particular exercise, which is to observe what's happening in the classroom. Okay, so there are certain expectations, certainly, in terms of deliverables. We would expect you to prepare all these documents, and at the end of the semester to have what we call a teaching portfolio. That teaching portfolio you can then use when you're interviewing for an academic position. You can say, I've already practiced. I participated in a program. It was voluntary, and I wanted to make sure that I got better prepared. We realize that if you're doctoral students or graduate students at the master's level, that you're very busy with your classes, that you are concerned about making progress with your research, but we also recognize that you want to advance develop professional skills that go beyond just the research experience of a graduate program. So this is something that we're trying to accomplish on this side. And so we have selected you because you have demonstrated that you truly are interested in the program. And those of you who are eligible will receive a stipend, courtesy of the United States taxpayers. So just remember that this is money that comes from the National Science Foundation, but there is an expectation that you will truly do your best to learn from this experience. Okay.
Thanks, Dr. Flores. So now before we move on to the deliverables and we talk about turning in your work, we're gonna have a quick breakout session. We have some of our mentors present, so welcome Professor Hill, Professor Hodgkin, Professor Dinesh Talab, joining us from El Paso Community College. Not all of the mentors are here today. This session is mostly for the students, but we always welcome our mentors. This way we can start interacting. And this is one of the few sessions in the semester, as you saw on the agenda, where everybody gets a chance to be together. Most of the times you will be scheduling your activities directly with your mentors, such as one-on-one meetings, follow-ups for your documents, for your deliverables, and also the classroom observations. So that's gonna be something that you do on your own, but this is one of the times where we get to see everybody and interact a little bit more. Being our first meeting and that some of our mentors are present, we're gonna send you for a quick 8 to 10 minute breakout session so you can talk more to each other, get to know some of your peers, and just introduce yourselves and share some of your expectations for this semester. That way we can get the conversation going. I will send you a small notification, a quick notification to let you know that we're a minute away from coming back. So just get some conversation going, get to meet some of the mentors. And let me remind you that this is not the official introduction to your mentor, okay? So we will send those pairing emails next week. That way you can begin working and scheduling your meetings and doing what you're gonna plan for this semester. So this is just a general meet and greet. So we would like to have this in person. Unfortunately, this is what we can do right now. So let's cyber socialize for a few minutes and I will see you back. Hello, everybody. Oh, nice. Faces, cameras on. Yes.
Hello.
Good. Okay, I hope you all had a nice chat and an introduction conversation and had the opportunity to exchange some of your expectations and your backgrounds. And I hope that I have an opportunity to do the same. We will have a lot of interaction, emailing mostly, but maybe later we could schedule something that's just for fun. So anyway, welcome back. Now we're gonna talk about our deliverables and outcomes, and then we will have a chance to answer some specific questions. Because our group is small, we divided it into two to better accommodate your schedules. We might finish a few minutes earlier. So think in the meantime, if you have any questions, any pressing questions that you may want to bring up right now, but if not, remember that you can always reach out over email if this is a personal thing about the financial incentive or the stipend. If you have specific questions that only pertain to you and you rather email those to myself or to Agni, please feel free to do so in the best format that you wish. So Agni, all yours. Agni is going to talk to us about deliverables and outcomes. You might have already seen the document and gone over what the expectations are and how these are going to be met. So Agni will continue the conversation.
Okay, hi everyone. So one thing I was asked during my during the breakout session, and I hope I answered like as much as possible. But also this, it was about the 4-year and 2-year mentors. So just hold on, because once again, Dr. Flores and Sarah will explain a little more on that. So for now, I will just go over the deliverables and the outcomes. So I'm just with the document in front of me, which I sent to everyone. So one of the most first things would be, as you would be able to see with your agenda, like today is the 12th. So between today, the 12th and the 26th, which is our next webinar, we expect you to have the first meeting with your mentor. You can go ahead and schedule that with your community college mentor. In the meeting, we're mostly focusing on understanding the entire teaching idea, the teaching practices, and everything nits and bits in the classroom which your mentor might do, the different ways handling the classroom environment, the different students, how they promote peer interaction, everything and everything, maybe their active teaching practices and all of that. The main idea of these meetings would be to, you know, get as much as and absorb as much as from these mentors and their great experience. Next, we go on to the observation. So according to the agenda between the webinar, next webinar, which is on the 26th, and the one in March, which is on the 12th, we expect you to do your first classroom observation. Now, for the classroom observation, you will have to interact with your mentor and set that up based on both your availabilities. Now, the classroom observation, we do provide resources, which I think will really help you. So if you can see over here, we're gonna have all of this uploaded on Blackboard. And on Blackboard, you will have, on your uploading, you will have an observation form. The observation form is like, it has a Likert scale. And along with that, it also has space for including your feedback of the class or including your comments of the class. So it has everything on it. We also include a set of guiding questions, which are a set of compulsory guiding questions. They're just simple questions so that you can look at different aspects of the class and note down your comments. Along with that, there will also be a few other observation resources, which might include journal papers, which might also include a process map. These are just to help you so that you can make the best observation and you can observe the different elements of the classroom which you can like. And then there will also be the webinars which are there later on. Once we do that, then we will be going into the teaching philosophy and the teaching portfolio webinars. Now, as these webinars will be conducted, I will try to populate the Blackboard shell with more resources regarding this. So I will include resources which will help you design your teaching philosophy statement. Also, I will include, like, you know, different parts, like I mentioned, from previous fellows, so that you can see what sort of work they've put in, what sort of philosophy statement they might have put in, because some previous fellows are already working in different community colleges. Similar way, we will go forward with, you know, the different workshops. And once you have the teaching philosophy, then we'll be looking into preparing the syllabus and finally the lesson plan. I think that's mostly it. And then, yeah, then we will have the third meeting with the mentor, which will sort of be the final meeting. And also, just that, as I mentioned, that every time you're making your deliverables, every time you're doing something like that, you know, before you send it to us, you can always run it through your mentors, get their feedback. Like, we would like to encourage you to have a constant feedback process from your mentors, whether it's 2 years, 4 years, so that you can finally have the best products at the end, which you can actually use when you're going and getting or applying for a job at a community college. Yeah, that's mostly what I had to say.
Thank you, Agni. We will have the Blackboard shell up and running starting next week. So once you log on to your UTIP account, I know we have a couple of students from UTPV, so we will send those instructions in a separate email. But once you log on to your UTIP, my UTIP page, and you go to your Blackboard, you will see an Aspire class there. So we will have the resources that Agni explained, and also an area to turn in your deliverables with formatting instructions and with the templates as well. And like Agni was mentioning, a lot of articles and resources. So make sure you devote maybe an afternoon of your week when you have a little bit of downtime and download all of those resources. If you don't have a chance to go over them that moment, at least you have a repository of information that will become a constant and valuable resource for your future observations and also for future teaching opportunities that you might want to have. Articles, we will have a couple of ebooks and also the templates and other resources. So do we have any specific questions? Just as a reminder for those that joined a little bit after, we will send the mentoring pairing emails starting next week. So that way you can start scheduling your meetings with your mentor, make some introductions, And if you have any other specific questions, you can use the chat. You can send us an email, or you can just open your microphone right now and say what's on your mind. So do we have anybody with a pressing question? Anxiety, things to share, quarantine recipes? Come on.
I do. Hi, everybody. My name is
Melissa,
Melissa.
hello.
Hi, and I do have a question. We were wondering, in the fellows that were in the breakout room, if our mentor will be in our same area. Let's say I'm in civil engineering. Will my mentor have something to do with that, or somebody who
Yes,
has
of course.
biology?
Yeah. So the pairings are almost finalized. So we will produce the roster probably this weekend. So that's why I will send those emails starting next week. But let's say that we have a student who is a graduate student in the teaching and learning program, but your research is STEM education. So we will pair you with either somebody from education or somebody who's doing STEM education. So it is as close as we can possibly do these models. So you not only get the level where you're attending currently in your program, but also the discipline and the research area. So that's always a very interesting portion of setting up the semester, to making sure that you have a mentor who is not only aligned with your discipline, but also has some knowledge of your research interest, as you all express in your applications. So we do read them, yes. But I hope that answered your question, Melissa.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. Thanks.
I will add also that Dr. Montes, who joined us from UT Permian Basin, she's a professor in chemistry and also the chair of the Department of Chemistry at UT Permian Basin, and a UTEP alumna, I must add. She and I will be more than glad to assist you. So we will be the mentors on the side. Okay, so we will have conversations in these events, and then of course you have the opportunity to talk to your mentors at the community college. And of course, we want to make sure that you get as much information that is significant to you, okay, as we could possibly offer. So it's important that that match is good, but we are also here to help as well. Okay, so if you have any questions, maybe what we can do is Dr. Montes and I will divide up and pick a few students, or you can pick us. I don't know. We can just make it fun. You can say like, no, Dr. Flores needs a haircut. I'm not going to talk to him until he gets one. Okay, that's fine. I'm not going to be hurt. Okay, but if you want to talk to me, you have my email. We can always have conversations on this side. Okay, we encourage that. And of course, we want to know what your expectations are. We just told you what we expect of you and what the program is, how the program is constituted. But we also want to hear from you and say, what do you want to get out of this program? Okay, what are your expectations of me and Dr. Montes and Ms. Rodriguez and Mr. Banerjee? What is it that you would like to get out of this program by the end of the semester? Okay, so getting those expectations out is part of the process of becoming a better learning community. Okay, if it's a unilateral conversation, if it's more of a monologue on my end, or anybody else is saying that we're not going to achieve much, but if we have a conversation, and we have to start with trusting each other that we're going to provide, that we're going to do our best and provide the best information that is available to us. And it's okay to say we don't know, all right? We're exploring options here, but we can always find out. We all are graduate students. We all have gone through the graduate student experience. So we know that sometimes we just need to pause and do research on the topic and not just speak because, but actually have evidence-based information that will be of use to you. Okay. Sarah, back to you.
Yes, any other questions? Anything that you guys want to know, anything that you guys want to share, any other concerning things? No, nothing?
I had a question.
Eric, yes.
So we also were talking about what's the classroom observation going to be like? Do you guys know more or less whether it's going to remain through Zoom or is it going to be in person? What is the status of that situation?
That is always, that's a great question, Eric. I'm sure that some of the other fellows have the same question. I have the same question, but let's see, let's do some clarification. Obviously, a remote learning situation, even some of the mentors emailed me with that question. So the remote learning situation that we're all facing is a daily changing challenge, as we agree. So I know that some campuses or campi are holding sessions in person, but most of our campuses are holding online or hybrid sessions. So I think I want to give you a precise answer, but the approximation would be, it really depends on what your mentor schedule is offering. And maybe if they have colleagues who want to allow the students to observe a class, if they have online sessions, they can share the Blackboard Collaborate link, the Zoom link or the Teams link with you, and you can do the online observation if the class is obviously synchronous. If not, it's gonna become kind of a Blackboard tour or a tour of their online resources, right? So I think in this case, this particular semester, we're gonna have to work around and with the remote learning environment and the challenges that it proposes. In other semesters pre-COVID, we would have done this in person. So you would actually attend the classroom or the lab or the practice. But in this case, we just have to do what we can. If the session is offered as a hybrid, and you are willing and able to attend in person with all the necessary precautions and the proper protection, you're free to do so. So it really depends on how your mentor will be working this semester and the capabilities of our technology. So I hope that answers your question.
Let me add a couple of things, Eric.
Yes.
One of the reasons why we want to have classroom observations is that we want you to get a good sense of how the professor interacts with the students. These are individuals who have done this for a number of years, so they're experienced and they have optimized their approach with their students. So first and foremost, the idea is to see the interaction that is taking place and take note of that, reflect upon that, okay? The second piece is to notice the diversity of the students at the community college. Okay. In El Paso, we tend to say UTEP students and community colleges are pretty much the same students. Okay, but the students that go to community colleges tend to come in from a broader base. Okay, and the professors have learned that this broader base requires additional strategies and techniques for teaching, which is something that you may not see at the university. Okay, so think about that. Think about all the students that you're going to see. You know, they're not going to be necessarily students who are 18 or 19 years old. They're probably going to be older. They're probably going to be students with families. Raise your hand if you have a family. Okay, well, you know, some of you have a family. Everybody has a family. Why didn't you raise your hand? What are you talking about? Okay, but the whole idea is to understand that students have very diverse backgrounds And because of that diversity, as a consequence of that diversity, it's really important to tune your teaching strategies so that you reach out to the majority of the students. You know, when I was a young student many, many eons ago, the professor would talk to the smarter students and forget about the rest. We can't afford to do that anymore. Okay, we really have to teach to the majority of the students. If you have a very talented individual, you give that student something else to do. If you have a student who's struggling, you provide additional support to that student. Those are the kind of things that you have to think about and see how your professor is accomplishing that. All right, Eric, that's a very good question with lots of options for answers, but that's what we're trying to get at. Okay, we're trying to think in depth about some of the things that the professors in community colleges do, because to me they're heroes. I mean, these people, wow. I mean, they do an amazing job, and many times they go without a compliment and from peers from universities. So I just want to take this opportunity to let you all know that we are very impressed with the work that you all do. So that's why we want our students to know about that.
Thanks, Dr. Flores. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes, Jonathan.
Will the webinars be like scheduled basically like at this time, or like the times that we were given today, like kind of across the schedule?
Well, thank you for transitioning to my next activity, which is a quick poll. So we need to see, because this is always a challenge, and I must share that you guys are the biggest group we've had so far. So we know that we're gonna have to make some adjustments, okay? So that's why on the agenda, it doesn't have specific times, because we wanted to see you and talk to you before we made those decisions. So on your screen, which is the next question, Jonathan, I'm gonna give you some options. So these are for Friday, so that's set, but we're gonna have to see what the best times are. Now, this is a poll that we're gonna also do for our 5 p.m. meet and greet session for the rest of the group and the mentors. So that way we can get a majority vote and see how we can better do this and provide a better service, okay? So let's see if you see what I see. So what are the best meeting times for you? So early between 8 and 10, remember people not from El Paso, these are mountain times. So 8 to 10, 10 to noon, between 1 and 3, 3 and 5, or after 5 p.m. I know that a Zoom meeting on a Friday after 5 is not like the best weekend starter plan, but we need to be passionate about what we're doing, open and flexible. So this is actually going to be a lot of fun. So we know that some people work, and maybe that's the best time for some people. So it's fine. You know, we just have to try to be as accommodating and flexible as possible. And so do you. As prospective teachers, you will see how flexibility is quite the thing of every day in a classroom. So we're almost there. 9 people have answered out of our group. You can select various answers if that's your openness, your availability. Thank you, Professor Danesh Talab Shadi. Greetings. Thank you for attending. Yes. Okay. Okay, so everybody has voted. Now I will share this with you. So these are the voting results. Of course, like I mentioned, this is not a final decision. This is just a poll so we can see our availability and compare it to the afternoon group. Okay, well, thank you for that. And Jonathan, I hope that answered your question. Does anyone else have something to address before we adjourn? No?
I have a question.
Anand, yes?
Yes. So my question is like when it's not related to this program, but for someone who is applying for a job in a 4-year college or 4-year university and 2-year college. So do you think, like, is it the same way, like in a university they look for research papers and several other things? So is it the same in the 2-year college as well?
I
Like,
think that's for you, Dr. Flores.
So one of the things that you're going to find out is that regardless of whether you apply to a community college or a university, you need to make a case for education. Okay. And if you have received training, that's something that you should talk about during the interview. That's something you should have evidence that you've done and include that in your CV. Right now, we're going through the process of hiring faculty in my department. And the first thing that I look for is, do they have any sort of training? These junior faculty, have they taught before? Is there any evidence of excellence? Okay, so when you participate in a program like this, you are showing that you truly care about education, and that you can say, you can elaborate on what it is that you did in the program. I mean, that's the beauty of CVs, that you can add more than you would have in a resume. Okay. At community colleges, depending on the community college, the level of research that you may be involved in will vary greatly. Okay, some community colleges want their faculty to focus on teaching and service, and they do a lot of that. That's what consumes their time. But there is now a growing trend of community colleges that are using research embedded in the classroom. Okay, so they're still teaching, but they're doing research with undergraduate students, or they're teaching undergraduate students to do research. Okay, and the administrators will tell you that they will never reject a grant that that they approve of and that they want you to work on. So if you get funding from an agency for doing work at a community college that is considered research, if it's vetted by the community college, then you have green light to do that. But again, those are the kind of things that you need to ask your professors, and ask them, how are you dealing with that, bug of doing research, because we're all trained to do research and then we put it in a classroom. So how do you make peace with the fact that you're probably going to be spending more time teaching than doing research? Or how do you balance that act? Okay, so it's not a one answer that would fit everybody.
got it. So
It's an ongoing question that will develop as you progress with your activities this semester, I think.
mhm.
Yeah.
So one more thing is, like, I know, like, universities take international people as faculty and they can join. Is it the same with the community college? Because I know about UTEP, I know there are several international professors, like those who are not from US, they work here. But I wanted to know, is it the same with community college as well?
Yes.
It varies greatly. Again, this is a great question to talk, to ask your faculty mentor at a community college about what they see, right? But I can tell you from experience that in the eastern United States and the western United States, there are plenty of international faculty who find jobs at community colleges.
Okay.
Okay. So it's not just for domestic students who then go on to pursue academic careers. The market's open. Okay.
Yeah.
You just have to demonstrate that you're outstanding. That's what it boils down to. Okay.
Anybody else? Any other questions?
I have a quick question.
Yes, Almira?
So can you do this for 2 semesters, or as a graduate student, like a master's student, or can you only do it once?
That's a great question that nobody has ever asked before.
Okay.
Would you like to repeat this? I mean, if you go through the experience once, you will get a certificate and you will get a plaque. So saying you have met your objective. But if you want to do it again, is that what you're asking? If you want to
Yeah.
repeat.
Yeah.
Okay. So would you take calculus 1 twice?
Would I take calculus 1 twice? Probably not.
So unless we offer something different to you, I think that's what you want to do, right? You want to go on to the next, to another program that is going in more depth, or that is exploring other possibilities for you. Okay, but we can talk offline on Mira. We can try to figure out what exactly you're after. Okay, if the goal is to try to enrich your CV, definitely there are a number of things that you can try.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you, Doctor.
And if you do decide to repeat the cycle, we could offer an associate fellow position, which is non-stipend and eligible, so you could keep networking. But like Dr. Flores mentioned, we would normally ask the students to move on, or to, I mean, it just happens naturally. We don't ask them to move on, right?
I actually would suggest that the next thing that you try to do is to get an internship with a community college, or to get a senior lecturer position, right? And you're going to have an opportunity to meet with the deans of EPCC and other colleges in the Permian Basin area, and ask them, share with them your CV so that they have you in mind for a lecturer position. Okay, so you take multiple steps.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Almira. Melissa, did you raise your hand?
Yeah, I did. Just occurred to me, will our mentors have more than one student assigned to them? My question goes for, if I have a mentor, is another student being mentored by that person so I can network with that person?
Half of our mentors have 2 students and the other half have 1 student. This depends on their availability and on your discipline and research interest. So not all of our mentors have 2 students. They probably about half have 1 and the rest have 2. So maybe there is a chance to meet concurrently if your schedule permits. So that is one of the nice things about this program, that it is very flexible, and it is a lot about your schedule and how you can make it work with your mentor. So there's no real final answer, but perhaps half of the faculty that will be mentors have 2 students. For example, Professor Hodgkin, who joins us from biology, PCC. Hi, Paul. He has two students. But Professor Danesh Talab, who left recently, she only has 1. So that's because of their own commitments to their college and also the discipline of our students.
Okay, thanks.
No more than 2.
Okay.
So you'll get attention, yes.
But you can always network with everybody else.
Yes. Any other questions? I'm sure that you will have questions as we go along. And again, you have our email information. You have both Agnes, Dr. Flores, Dr. Montes, and my email address. If you write to the aspire@utep.edu because you don't have our addresses handy, or you don't remember them, or you're doing it from your phone, it's easier to remember aspire@utep.edu, and that reaches us as well, of course. So thank you so much for your time this afternoon. It was great to see you and to have a chance to interact a little bit. We will get started with our mentoring rosters, and you will be hearing from us this weekend with a couple of emails. So Dr. Montes, Dr. Flores, Agni, is there anything else that you would like to say or comment before we adjourn?
Perhaps Dr. Montes has a few words.
Yes, I just, since I was late, I apologize. I had icy road conditions. But I just want to thank everybody for your interest in the program and for your willingness to participate, even though it's a kind of crazy semester year / maybe decade, I don't know. But I am here for all of you. If you'll want to send me an email, and if my experiences have any impact, or if you want to know anything about how to do this, just let me know. And Almira, if you want to email me, go ahead. We can talk about other opportunities as well at the UTPB. Remember that for all of you, this program is particularly for community colleges, but there are small universities that are only undergraduate granting, that only have undergraduate granting programs such as ourselves that might hire you as well. So just keep those networks, everybody, and I'm here at your service. That's all.
Thank you, Dr.
Good.
Montes. Dr. Flores?
I think what Dr. Montes said is very important, that you need to have a broader understanding of higher education opportunities. It's not just limited to universities that are research one institutions. We have small liberal art colleges all over the nation, both public and private. We have community colleges. We have large universities. You have average universities, universities that offer master's degrees, universities that offer PhD degrees, on universities that only offer undergraduate degrees, community colleges that are 2 years or 3 years, that are rural or that may be in a big city as part of a larger network of institutions. There's a lot of differentiation that takes place, and we're just scratching the surface of it right now. So we'll have an opportunity to talk more about this, and we'll also give you a little bit of reading so that you can also catch up with some of these opportunities, and give you plenty of resources so that you feel more comfortable, and you can go back to those resources when the time is right. Okay. I just want to say thank you again for agreeing to spend time with us today. And I think we're going to finish a little bit early, Sarah, or maybe we're over time. I'm not sure. I lost track.
Yes, Dr. Flores, we had scheduled originally from 1 to 1:30, but again, our group got divided into two, so we're going to host the rest of the group at 5 p.m. You're welcome to rejoin because we're so much fun, but obviously the information is the same as right now. So if you want to meet other people and talk and listen to all of this again, we will be here, and you have the links. Other than that, we will be sending more information over the weekend, and we thank you and re-thank you for your time, for your energy, and for being willing to participate in this program. We are sure that you're going to take away so much from this opportunity and apply it to your career paths and enrich yourselves. So thank you so much. Stay safe, wear a mask, wash your hands, and we will see you very soon. Have a great afternoon, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Adios.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, guys.